Hello guys, welcome back. Today I am here to share the story of Roberta and Goliarda in this very interesting Italian movie. Yes, if you guys don't know, the movie was released in 2025. It's basically set in Rome in the 1980s. After The Art of Joy, she has been working on for a decade, is rejected by the Italian publishing world. Writer Goliarda commits a desperate theft that costs her reputation and her social position, so she actually ends up going to prison. And there's where the whole plot of the movie actually ends up taking off. And there's where everything starts to happen. But before we get into further details and actually discuss everything, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. So, to be honest, at the beginning of the movie, it was kind of a little bit confusing to me because I couldn't understand the dynamic between the two. Obviously, as you watch the movie is almost 2 hours long. So, yes, it is a very long movie. You can kind of see the dynamic between the two, the bond, but still, they were not giving me what I thought it would. But later on, as you start to, watch the movie, you can see that things between the two is a little bit more deeper than what, it is actually showcased. And let me tell you, it's actually a very, very, very good, obviously, story. The movie is in Italian, so I had to watch it with subtitles. So, it took me time to basically understand everything. But yes, more of the story. The movie is really good, and I just want to give my initial ratings. I would definitely rate this movie a strong, like 7.5 out of a 10. Very, very, very good movie. So while, incarcerated, in this case, Gilarda forms a powerful multi, layered connection with Roberta, a younger, rebellious, repeat offender and political activist. So they basically meet in prison. At the beginning, you can see that in this case, Goliarda, she was having a tough time at prison. She couldn't adapt very well. And obviously, in this case, Roberta, she is very well known in the system. She has a lot of, cases on her. So, she's a regular to prison. So they actually end up creating this bond and creating this group together, and obviously after prison, you can also see them connecting and just keeping, this bond going. And it's actually clear to say that they are very affectionate with one another, like they are very close to one another there. I don't know if it's an Italian way or what it is, but you can definitely see that there was something more to the two. Even though, to be honest, they don't end up, being romantically involved with one another, but you can see the love and the connection there. I feel like they just knew that for them to go that way wasn't the right direction for them to go, in this case to be involved with one another, but the bond, the chemistry, the connection, everything was there, and just the way they used to care for one another. We also have to mention that Roberta, she has a very, very difficult battle that she's been battling with herself when it comes to substance intake. And obviously that is something that also worries, Goliarda, because at the beginning you can see that after they reconnect, once both of them are out of prison, you can see that Goliarda starts to worry about Roberta in the situation, because you can just see that her physical appearance was just getting worse and worse and worse. And obviously Goliarda didn't want to intervene because she didn't want to push, in this case, Roberta away from her for calling her out. And on the other hand, Goliarda is also facing her own situations, because at the beginning of the movie you can see that she's been struggling to maintain her life after prison. She's been trying to look for jobs. She's been getting rejected because of, the fact that she already went through the system. She's in her mid 50s in this case. So, she's just having a tough time. She's worried she's going to lose her job. So when she actually ends up reconnecting with Roberta, it was like a breath of fresh air for her, just to escape everything that she was going through. And obviously, Roberta, she's a girl that she always know a way on how to make money. So that's also one of the reasons why they came close. If you guys don't know, in this case, in Goliarda, she needed financial income. And obviously, Roberta proposed something to her, but at the beginning, Roberta, she was being very mysterious about it. She never really said what the job was based on and what it's gonna be. But obviously, Goliarda, she trusted, even though they had the arguments, she trusted Roberta that they will lead her to where she needs to be at. So they just go through a lot of recaps, narratives on the prison and life after prison. And obviously, Roberta, she always keep this mystery. And you can clearly see that in this case, Goliarda, she's trying to find out what's going on, what is the mission, what is she up to, and always just being patient. And obviously, the truth as the movie goes by, the truth finally comes out. You can actually see that in this case, later on, Roberta actually ends up confessing to Goliarda that she needs to escape, that she needs to disappear because the people that she's been working with are coming after her. It's not doing her no good. She just needs to get away from everything and everybody because she cannot handle this anymore. She's getting drained. And there's even a moment during the conversation where she actually said that what if she gets herself cleaned up and she can take care of, Goliarda, while Goliarda actually ends up being a rider and just keeps in that she can keep on riding. So there was kind of one of the plans that Roberta had for her and Goliarda together, but obviously that didn't go as planned. As you know, Roberta also needed to get away from everything, just the people around her and the environment around her. It was draining her physically, it was draining her body, and she couldn't, stay sober. So there was a lot going on. So by the end of the movie, you can actually see that she ends up, getting the suitcase, and obviously she needed, in this case, Goliarda to help her out. She gave Goliarda the suitcase full of letters from the prison, and she basically just wanted, Robert, and this case Goliarda, to write about it and, just take in the stories that are, in the stories, in this case the letters, and just create something and publish it so that, the voices of the women that are incarcerated can be heard, because they feel like for a lot of time, the voices couldn't get heard. So, she wants her to write about it and publish it so that it can get out there. So that was kind of the mission of Roberta as a political activist, to make the woman's, voice in prison where she served, to get heard. In my opinion, that's what I thought. And there was a lot of corruption and things involved. So there's also another layer to the movie as well. But more of the story, they have a very good connection. A lot of people thought it was like a mother and daughter type of bond, but in my opinion, I definitely didn't see no mother and daughter bond between them. I definitely, in my personal opinion, feel like there was a connection between the two, but they also knew that the reality for them to actually end up being together would be way complicated because, of the dynamic that they found themselves in after prison, meeting in prison. Now, obviously, Roberta is facing her own challenges. Goliarda's life is basically a mess. So there's a lot that goes on between the two. But I will definitely, and it 100% doesn't give me, obviously, like how would I say, a couple that is in love, but I do feel like there's a lot of physical and emotional attraction between the two. They just never, took it upon them to explore it because they knew that their connection goes way beyond, physical touch. So yes, guys, this movie is actually available to watch on Amazon Video, depending on your location. You might have to purchase or rent it out, or also on movie as well, but obviously movie, it will depend on your location. This movie is 100 trillion percent worth to watch. Go watch it, go support it. Like I said, it's a very long movie and definitely was worth my time, so hopefully it's worth your time as well. So yes, guys, it's basically it. That's my quick review. And now before I get out of here, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Until the next video, and goodbye.